Hey everyone, how are you doing today? It is Marla. The sun has not even come up yet, so I have no outside lighting to kind of help illuminate this room. So I am going to make this really fast because I did this actually in segments this video, and the demonstration part of it was actually filmed with some halfway decent lighting from nature. So let me just kind of do a quickie overview of this concealer and then I'll really get into the demonstration. I recently picked up the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer, and the color I have in it is NC30. I have light olive skin, and this was the color that seemed to go best on my skin tone. You'll see actual swatches of it later in this video when I do the demonstration. Why I like this has become my #1 concealer right now. I really like it because it is very long wearing. It lasts pretty much all day. I love the consistency of it because I kind of mix it with something that makes it work a little bit better for me and make it look a little bit better, I think. And I'll show you that in the demonstration. What I don't like about it is the nozzle. It gets very messy. And no matter how many times I try and how gently I try, I can never get out the amount I want. Every time I press it, I always get this big blob comes out, and I waste a lot of the product. I think this is about $19 for this concealer, but I really wish they had a different way to dispense it versus this dispenser because I can never get the accurate amount out that I want. I do waste a lot of this concealer. All right, instead of me talking anymore, let me get right into the demonstration. You can see what it looks like on my eyes and how I mix it with something to kind of give it just a different, slightly different look. And I just wanted to give you a close-up of what the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NC30 looks like on my hand. So that would be NC30. Let me rub it in a little bit. And that is perfect with my kind of light olive complexion. All right, I'm going to try to do this before the sun goes down and you don't get a chance to see this. Right now, my face, I know my face looks darker than my neck. That's the way it always is. I just don't have any foundation on my neck right now to kind of even myself out. But I just came out of kind of the shower and I don't even have my eyebrows really drawn on real well. So you're going to have to forgive my pure messy ugliness right now. But anyway, I am going to show you how I use this MAC Pro Longwear Concealer and why I like it. When I usually don't go into MAC. I kind of just buy all my stuff at Sephora. I don't know why. I think I got burned on MAC a while ago when they come out with some, their special edition stuff or the limited editions, and then you fall in love with it and then you can't buy it again. And I just kind of really hate that. So I've kind of steered clear of MAC really because of that. And I tried some of their foundations, which I just didn't like years ago. So I kind of never made the extra step of going into the MAC store sometimes when I'm at the mall. But I did recently, and I picked up the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. It's not that this concealer is kind of the end-all be-all concealers. It's just that the color for me is really a great color. I love the consistency of it. There are some things about this I don't like. I think kind of the way it's distributed through this little pump really bugs me because I either get too much or not enough. I can never get the exact amount, and that is the one thing that bugs me about this dispenser for this concealer. And it does get really messy around here. I've actually cleaned mine off, but it's still, the little nozzle still looks kind of messy. And she talked me into, which was a really good purchase now that I look back on it, this MAC brush. I usually do not like to spend money on expensive brushes. I think I can get dupes of brushes that are just as good in the drugstore. I love Sonia Kashuk brushes. They're just really a lot of good drugstore brushes. However, there are some brushes that I just can't seem to find dupes for. I really love my MAC 208 eyebrow brush. That is the best brush. I love it. I would never change that for anything else. And I really like this MAC 286 concealer brush. This is the head of it. And I'll show you the way I put this concealer on. And again, I'm going to say it again. This is not a concealer that I feel is the end-all holy grail concealers that totally eradicates my dark circles. But there's something about this, it just seems to brighten the under area of my eye. Even though you may see some of the darkness, it just seems to be brighter. And I'll show you how I do it. The first thing I do is I take my Tarte Maracuja C Brightener Eye Treatment. I don't know if you can see that, probably not. But I stick my finger in here, which is kind of gross, but it's the only way I can get this out. I take just a touch of this and I put it just on the top of my hand like that. And then I try to take the tiniest little pump of this, because no matter how tiny a pump I take of this, I usually end up getting more than I want. So I'm going to try to pump just a touch of this out. And again, more than I wanted, always. That is the one big negative to this that really bugs me. My color, if I didn't say it already, is NC30. But the way I do this is I take this brush, I wet it just a little bit to dampen it. If not, it just sucks up the concealer like crazy. Then the next thing I do is I put the bristles in the eye brightener and just kind of really put a little bit of amount of the brightener all over the bristles to moisten it. And then I just dab a little bit of the concealer in it. Now, I end up using the brush and my fingers, but that's just the way I do it. So it's going to be tough for me because I'm usually doing this in a mirror, and into the camera is really tough because everything is kind of backwards, so it's hard for me to kind of know where everything is. And again, I may have to get my mirror, but this is really a great brush because it just kind of I don't know how to describe it. It's just kind of like a little fluffy brush. There, I'm sort of getting the hang of looking at everything. Well, not really. Okay, that direction is really opposite. It's kind of like everything is the opposite in the camera. And I end up putting my concealer. I know a lot of times they say just put the concealer in. Let me go grab my mirror because this is just really hard for me to do. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with my trusted mirror. So because I have kind of a dark purplish area all under my eyes, I first put kind of a really light coat of this under the whole area. And this mixed with the Maracuja eye brightening treatment is just beautiful. It just doesn't seem to be cakey whatsoever. So I have a little bit of it on right now, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dip a little bit in it again and just put this now on the darkest area, kind of from like right here down there. And I'm going to tap in a little bit with my finger. And then I don't know if you can see how it kind of brightens that under eye area. It doesn't totally eradicate my circles, but it just kind of brightens that under eye area underneath my eye, so that when I put my makeup on, it just kind of makes my eye look, I don't know, younger, more alive, just brighter under there. It illuminates it, and it doesn't eradicate all the darkness, but it just brightens it up a bit. So let me put it on the other side. There we go. And this brush is really good because it just kind of mops everything up. I just love the way this blends in. It's super fluffy, and it just seems to blend the concealer in really well. I really don't notice a lot of separation of this. You will always get, I think, a little bit of separation into lines. Just the way it is with lines. I mean, I think it's just kind of hard not for anything that you stick under there to settle a little bit into your lines. But this just mixed with that Maracuja cream just seems to brighten that area underneath my eyes. I just really love it. And again, like I said, it doesn't eradicate everything, but it just makes that area look like it's kind of like a little bit of a light under there, glowing. So I really like this. Right now this has become kind of my #1 concealer for under my eyes. I still use my Urban Decay 24/7 pencil and a little bit of my Boing on top of that by Benefit around the area around my nose. I still kind of like that there. But for under my eyes, this has become my #1 product. So that was my perceptions of the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer.